Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of our F1 22 My Team Career Mode, and this time we are at Miami. We are going for the upgrades here, so we're going for wheel rim covers, which will give us a bit of drag reduction, which, like I say, is definitely the focus for us, and then we're just doing a little bit of reliability because I think it's important to do that as well. So a bit of reliability on the gearbox, and then wing mirror upgrade as well, which is even more drag reduction, so hopefully our car should be nice and slippery through the air, quite a bit less drag. And we do our first supercar thing, so it's a bit weird driving these, I can't lie, especially considering the wheel I've got has an F1 wheelbase on it. It's the Thrustmaster Ferrari one, and it's just a pain to swap it out for the normal rim, so I end up driving these F1 cars with an F1 rim. F1 cars? I don't know what I'm talking about. Driving these supercars with an F1 rim. Which, like I say, is weird, and especially when you've been doing this track in an F1 car and then you do it in quite a slow supercar, it is odd. But we do get gold. We had to basically do 2 laps in 4 minutes whatever seconds. We did it in 4 minutes 13, so that will give us 1,000 claim for our team, bringing us ever closer to being able to get a third sponsor, and also $100,000 for our money, which is very useful when you've got to pay quite a bit of money to keep a man like Jenson Button. Anyway, weather forecast wise, it is completely dry, so that's good. And development wise, we are still, I don't know if we were quite last time, but we are best of the rest. So we've got Alpine and McLaren following us there, but as you can see, it's really tight everywhere, to be honest, in the midfield. Even though we are technically best of the rest, they're so bunched up that anything could happen. But we are going into quali. Here we are into Q1. Aim of the game, obviously, as always, is to get into Q2. We decide to, I think, just skip forward a little bit and let all the AI do all their laps, because, especially in Q1, it seems that on a lot of tracks, track evolution is quite a big factor. So you'll always find at the end of the qualifying session, AI somehow managed to go like half a tenth to a second quicker than their first lap. I don't know if that's... honestly, I don't know if that's either track evolution or just the whole fast-forward glitch thing that has plagued all the F1 games since I've started playing anyway. But our lap gives us a 129.3 and puts us P5. Our teammate is all the way down there. But we cross the line again because we go out to do a second one. And only P10 with that one, and we did a 128.7. Our teammate managed to do quite a bit faster there. So yeah, like I say, the amount of time they gain right at the end of the session is crazy. I think going forward I'm just going to have to always do the out lap and the in lap, and then just not skip forward any time when the AI are on their laps, because they seem to just gain so much time when you skip forward. But in Q2 we do a P9, our teammate a P7. We're about a couple of tenths to 3 tenths off of him. But, I mean, we've beaten everyone apart from the McLaren at this point. Our first lap in Q3 really wasn't very fast, a 129.5. So we definitely need to improve somewhat in the final lap, as we clearly do, because we get P7 with a time of a 128.7, so not much faster than our Q2 time, I don't think. Jenson Button only did a 128.8, so we have actually out-qualified him. So we have qualified best of the rest, which hopefully P7 and 8 should put us in for some good points in the race.
Welcome to the Magic City. We're here at the Miami International Autodrome, the home of the Hard Rock Stadium, a multi-purpose sports and entertainment hub which has hosted Super Bowls, Baseball World Series, numerous rock concerts, and now, for the first time, Formula One, with great opportunities for wheel-to-wheel battles featuring 19 corners, 3.36 miles long, and expected average speeds of 138 miles an hour. The Miami International Autodrome will be sure to create lots of chances to overtake. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Russell, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Perez, Paul, Button, Norris, and Daniel Ricciardo, Ocon, Tsunoda, Valtteri Bottas, and Mick Schumacher. Gasly, Vettel, Lance Stroll and Guan Yu Zhou. Albon, Magnussen, Latifi and Fernando Alonso rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Now I wonder, Anthony Davidson, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams? Trying to put a bit of pressure on or disrupt things for the leaders?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you got your own race to run. I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies.
OK, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Well, we will definitely be aiming for another top 10 finish. Our recommended strat is to pit in at lap 14, do a medium to hard as usual. Unfortunately, no grid penalties this time ahead of us, so we do start 7th and 8th with our teammate. We get a green parking there for the formation lap, pointing our car a little bit towards Perez. Maybe we can try and squeeze him over to the inside, get the better run on him. We will have to see. But it's lights out and away we go. We get a pretty decent start. It looks like Hamilton gets a terrible start and we very almost lose it there. But we send it down inside of Hamilton as Perez just absolutely sends it and ends up going 4 wide through the section of corners. Sainz ends up losing quite heavily in that battle. He's moved himself all the way down into P6 from what was, I think, the front row of the grid. But going on to this corner here, Sainz decides that he's having none of that and sends it down the inside of us, making it go 3 wide into this little technical section. But he wasn't able to make the move stick. We keep our nose ahead of Perez, who is trying to go around our outside here, which just doesn't work. So we just squeeze him a little bit, make sure we've kept that place, and we are up into P4 after the first lap. So not too bad, 7th to 4th, I'll take it. But like I say, I mean, we'll obviously try and fight Perez, but the same as Imola, obviously the Red Bulls are quite a bit faster. Sainz as well, he's going to be pretty quick. That Ferrari power unit is insane, and especially down this long straight here. I mean, we haven't got DRS enabled yet as Perez sends it down the inside of us, but when DRS is enabled, we are just going to be a sitting duck, because I think we went for a slightly higher downforce setup than we probably should, as we absolutely ride the curb there and somehow managed to not bottom out the car. But yeah, in terms of straight line speed, obviously the Red Bull and especially the Ferrari behind us are going to be so much faster than us. But you see, we're pretty much carrying a train here. Verstappen 5 seconds ahead of us at this point. Sainz tries to go around the outside of us, and he's still sticking it in there. Oh, that's Perez actually. What happened to Sainz? I don't know. It's all going crazy behind us. You see Perez has got a bit of wing damage there. But 2 do not go into that corner, unfortunately. So we are not able to continue being side by side, but we win out the battle. But obviously we're on lap 3, so Perez will have DRS on us. We've only got like 27% of ERS. We definitely need to focus some upgrades on ERS so we can have more overtake. But yeah, Perez is just way too quick for us in these DRS zones. But I have noticed on that particular corner section, as long as we keep the outside line, we're generally able to come out on top. As we probably weave a little bit too much on this straight, we managed to keep it on the inside and Perez actually locks up. So that has pretty much ruined his chances of trying to overtake us for the time being, but it has allowed Hamilton to appear out of nowhere, and we keep our nose in. We managed to brake a little bit later than him, make a tiny bit of contact I think, but nothing too major, and we are still ahead. But man, are we just the head of the DRS trade here. I mean, you look at the mini-map and pretty much everyone is bunched up to us apart from the rather slow Aston Martins and Williams at the back of the pack. As you see, we're now 10 seconds behind Verstappen, so even if these guys do get past us, as Hamilton tries to send it down the inside here, and he's keeping his nose in there more than Perez did, but we're still able to keep the position. But yeah, like I was saying, if any of these guys, when they do eventually get past us, they are going to be nowhere near the race leaders. So the best they can hope for is 4th, unless any of the guys ahead obviously get damage or engine penalties. But this is the closest we have come so far to somebody overtaking us. Hamilton he just has slightly better straight line speed than us. We are losing all of our ERS, but he goes so deep on the inside there, and we're able to get the switch back, and we have kept the place still. But honestly, all this fighting is losing us so much time. But at the end of the day, we might as well try and keep these guys behind us. So I think was that Button I saw in the background? I'm guessing so. Yeah, P7. So he is definitely sticking with this pack. Maybe us fighting is allowing him to try and overtake some of the faster guys. But onto lap 6, I mean, Sainz at this point, he's managed to get ahead of Hamilton and he's ahead of us. We think about just sending it down the inside there, but that would have been a pretty hefty lunge. But Sainz is really slow out of that final corner. We were practically pushing him with our front wing through that corner. But the straight line speed that these guys have got is just immense. As you see, Hamilton is closing in on us. We take the outside line here as usual. He sends it very, very deep as a massive lock-up, and that allows us to actually keep our nose in. And yeah, we've kept the position, but you can see how close Button is as well, so he's going to be getting in on some of this action soon enough. As going down the back straight, we're pretty much completely out of ERS. We've got 16% left. We take the inside line, but it's just not going to be enough. Is Button going to go for a massive dive bomb? Not quite. You never know with the AI in F1 22, but lap 8, Button is trying to send it down the inside of us through this little the S section, which reminds me a little bit of Japan actually. It's quite cool, this track, because you got the S section at the start, which is a bit like Japan, and then you've got the slower section in the middle, all the technical, and then you've got quite a bit of DRS straight, so you get pretty good overtaking action. Unfortunately, what the game will not replicate is the absolutely massive fanfare that this track had in real life. I mean, the whole police escort sending them to the podium celebration as well was just crazy. Like the Americans over there do love taking everything to the max, but I mean, it made it quite cool, I guess, other than the fake water. They could have at least put real water in. But moving on to lap 8, you see Button has made it past us. Equal machinery, the DRS and the overtake is going to get past us as a yellow flag. What's that for? Looks like there's been a crash or is somebody out? I'm not sure. Looks like it's carrying on, so I think somebody is slow. Looks like the AlphaTauri there. It's out of nowhere. Ocon sends a dive bomb down the inside of us and we get all out of shape, which has ruined our original plan, which was to, you know, not overtake Button but stay in his DRS so we don't get overtaken by Ocon. But yeah, Ocon this massive dive bomb and we had to take avoiding action there. But lap 10, we've managed to get back into the DRS of Button, so we will be using him to just drag us along the road. And you can see how much we were holding up everyone else. I mean, Hamilton's already 4 seconds ahead of us. Do we go for the dive bomb? He covers the inside line there. We take the outside. We go so deep. Who managed to get the DRS? We did. We got the DRS. That is going to help us immensely. We put the DRS on, but we do not have enough overtake. So Button is able to stay on the outside there, but the inside line into this corner is generally the better one for overtaking. And we have got back past our teammate. So, yeah, showing that we do have the pace when we need to. But a bit like Imola, on this track, especially with the really long back straight, if you don't have DRS, you're just going to get overtaken. As we get a little bit squirrely out of there as well, these mediums are starting to show signs of wear, so I think it won't be long until people are coming in for hards. As you see, Leclerc already has down in P3 from the race lead. He's got the fastest lap of this race and he's already done his pit stop. Button is very, very close, but we're using all the overtake we possibly can to stay ahead. But we have to take the inside line anyway because he's just got too much closing speed on us. Is he going to try and keep it around the outside? No, he backs out eventually, but it was our lap for pit anyway, as we get a purple pit stop and we get a pit time of 2.5 seconds, so that is certainly going to help. Now, what is the warm-up phase like on these tyres in this track? In Bahrain and Imola, when we've come in and come back out on the new tyres, they are so cold. I mean, there you go, 72 degrees. By the end of this lap, we've managed to get them to about 81, but that's still really not great, as our teammate is into the pits the very next lap. Looks like we haven't lost too much time, though, because he has come out quite a bit behind us. But Ocon, who I imagine pitted at the same time as us, is still very, very close to us within the DRS. And unfortunately, we don't have our teammate ahead of us to drag us along and keep him from overtaking us. So either going to have to get our elbows out rather aggressively to keep him behind, or just accept our fate, allow him to go past us, and then maybe try and use him as our little DRS train to stay ahead of everyone else, like Tsunoda and Bottas behind. As we are P6, but you know, everyone else is pretty close. I mean, Tsunoda's about 3 seconds out at this point. As Ocon sends it down the inside, but once again, with the outside line going into this corner, it seems to be the best way to go, because as you come onto this set of corners here, the AI pretty much always back out, because you know, it's going to be an incident if they don't. But he is sticking pretty close. We've got basically no overtake at this point, as he does think about sending it down the inside there, but there wasn't quite enough gap as we get a little bit of wheel spin on the corner exit, which isn't going to help us, as he tries to send it down the inside again. No, that was the outside. Sorry, tries to send it outside, but we keep the inside line. He doesn't get past us on lap 18, but we do have 11 more laps to go of trying to keep this Alpine behind us. And even though when we chose engines, the Alpine was supposed to be quite slow, it seems like, I don't know if they've done updates or something, but our Alpine engine is pretty quick. It's not quite as quick as the Ferrari engine at this point, but it is still a fair bit of a rocket ship. Like I say, I think it's also because they are AI are probably running a slightly lower downforce setup than ourselves. So in terms of just normal straight line speed anyway, they've probably got the advantage. But yeah, there we go. Lap 19, he is way ahead of us. We don't even think about trying the dive bomb on the inside, because it's just not really going to help us. All of our fighting has allowed Tsunoda and our teammate to catch up to us a little bit. 2.2 seconds now, so we've lost probably about 8 tenths as we get a safety car token. Not safety car, supercar token, which is brilliant. I don't know if any of you guys have tried the F1 life aspects and the supercars of this game, but I just don't get it. Like, why would they spend time developing sofas and lampshades and stuff like that when they could just spend time making the AI not be buggy and have crazy straight line speed? As we watch Sergio Perez and Kevin Magnussen all the way down in P13 and P14 battling very, very hard, but Perez does manage to win the battle there and get himself ahead. But no, as I was saying, like, in 2020 and obviously all the games before, we had classic cars, classic F1 cars. I'd much prefer to do challenges in classic F1 cars than I would in supercars, so I don't know what they were going for there. Maybe it was the EA influence, probably with the F1 Life at least, with all the weird cosmetics you can buy. That was probably definitely influenced by the AI, but yeah. Anyway, lap 21, we've got Button trying to get past Bottas and Yuki Tsunoda if he can, to get himself a little bit more points. He's already ahead of Schumacher and Ricciardo, but they are very close as well. As he goes a little bit wide and comes back onto the track and just collects Schumacher. So he's hit into Schumacher there. He's lost a position. I don't know if he's got any wing damage, but that was not very good driving from our teammate there. The man who is supposed to have a fair bit of experience and awareness, given he is, you know, a world champion, but a little bit of a mistake and oversight from him there, as we do manage to get back past Ocon, but he does send a massive dive bomb down the inside trying to get back past us, but once again, the AI, when they send the dive bombs in the inside, they just go so late on the brakes that all you got to do is just back off a little bit, brake a little bit earlier than you normally would, and you get the switch back. But I mean, he is so close to us on this straight. Us being back ahead is going to be pretty short-lived, I think. I mean, we've got 50% overtake, but I think at this point we decided that it really wasn't worth trying to fight it. You can see behind us, Bottas and Tsunoda and that lot must have been fighting quite hard, because they're now 9 seconds behind us with a few laps to go. On lap 26, Jenson Button comes in for a new wing and a set of soft tyres. I'm guessing, is that where he got wing damage from before? I don't know, but lap 27, Bottas has made up to 4 seconds. So he's made pretty much 5 seconds on us in 3 laps, and we've lost 6.5 seconds to Ocon. I think the pace for us just died. I don't know why. I don't know if like, the hards just became too worn or if the AI just suddenly became OP, but yeah, the pace just completely died. It was weird. Maybe it's that glitch where you get an engine warning and then you just get loads of understeer, but on lap 29 Bottas actually gets past us. We go for a massive lunge on the inside, but we decide against it in the end because we were locking up and we just wouldn't have been able to make it. So on the very last lap, Bottas having been 9 seconds behind us only a few laps before, he got ahead of us and we come home in P8. So I think we started P7, didn't we? So, I mean, we only lost 1 position overall, which isn't terrible, as Bottas gets driver of the day, which I'm not surprised. He managed to get from 13th to 7th and make up all that time on us. But yeah, we lost 1 position overall, but we do gain ourselves an extra 4 points for us in the drivers and constructors, of course, as our teammate, with his 2 stops, getting that little bit of wing damage with his incident, ends up all the way down in 16th. So, yeah, our hopes for a double points finish once again were, didn't come to fruition in the end, but doesn't matter too much. We got our own points. Yeah, there you see, like I was saying, when we were literally pushing Carlos Sainz through the corner there. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that fantastic action, and hit the bell notification icon so then you don't miss out when we go to our next race, which will be Spain.